So this is the experiment to see if I can get better efficiency on my BIAB brewing with a crazy crush, crazy flour. Don't even know if you can see it. Okay, so I've got the temperature on my electric boiler, the water temperature up to about 65 degrees Celsius, and it's time to mash in. Now, today I'm just gonna mash in all the grain, just pour it right into the bag. Usually I try and just put in a little at a time and stir it up, but today I just dumped it all in, and I'll have to just break up the dough balls as it go along. You can see I'm gonna just use my spoon to get it all down into the water, and what'll happen is that the grain will clump together since it was all put in that quickly, and that'll form some dough balls that you'll have to break up to make sure that the water can get into that sweet sugar that's trapped inside there. So here I'll try and fish one out to show the camera there I lost it. You'll be able to feel them. You'll feel, big clumps down when you're stirring when you're actually stirring in the mash. And once you find one, just just crush it up against the side just to open it up and stir it in. And you're just looking for a nice smooth loose mash. And this is actually where having direct fire on your mash comes in really handy. In this case, it's my electric boiler, so it's directly heated, and if you don't have any kind of heat going into the mash, you can see a big dough ball there. Then a lot of stirring can bring the temperature down. So this is where it's just nice to be able to keep the temperature steady while stirring in it to get the mash all broken up nice and fine. So now that I'm kind of satisfied with the consistency in here, can see that there aren't any more lumps. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the lid on and then mash it for an hour, or you can mash it for however long your mash schedule calls for. So my mash is complete. Time to muscle up and lift that bag out. And you can see there's a lot of liquid in it. Some people will actually squeeze the bag. And you can tell me if it's an old wives' tale, but I've heard you can get off flavors from that. So what I do is I usually put it in one of these big colanders or strainers. You can get them in IKEA for next to nothing. And the bag fits about perfectly in there, and I just let it drain into a fermenter bucket, while I take gravity readings and stuff like that. I don't usually squeeze the bag, and but I don't know why. I don't even remember where I read that. So if you do that, then leave me a comment and tell me why, and if you get a better amount of volume back or not. So at this point, I actually had some problems with my electric boiler, so I had to move to my regular brew pot, which has a bigger boil off rate. So I did sparge the bag with about 2 liters extra water just to make up for what the extra boil off was going to be. I also don't usually sparge at all with brew in a bag, and I mean, I just don't do it because I just factor it into the numbers, and it makes the brew day even quicker if you don't have to let it drain or sparge or anything. But yeah. My favorite part about BIAB brewing, the cleanup. Usually it takes like 20 minutes to clean your mash tun out and get all the malt cared after. But here, boom, done. Other than rinsing this sucker out, totally done in about 25 seconds. So, yeah, if you're looking for a quick cleanup after a brew day, this is the way to go. So, we're in the room of infinite orangeness, and just about to come up to a boil. I just took a reading with a refractometer, and the pre-boil is basically right on where it should be, which is 1054. So that means that the crush did give me about the 70% efficiency that I had plugged into Beersmith, which is a lot better than the last time when I only had about 52% efficiency. So yeah, I guess that the better way to go is to crush it to flour. Obviously the wort is super hazy, but what are you gonna do? As long as I get those precious sugar points. Hey, it's a little over a month later. I've got the beer bottled and it is carbonated. Tried one last night and it should be completely carbonated, so I think it's time to give it a little bit of a taste test here on camera and finish this video up. Oh yeah, it's really carbonated. Nice. So this turned out, you can see it there, super light. It was, yeah, 3 kilos of Pilsner and only 270 grams of Cara Blonde, so, oh, this is a dirty glass. Oh, that's not very nice. Anyway, you can see it's got nice head retention, but it is super light, straw colored, basically Pilsner colored. And you can hear the cat has snuck in here. Cat! Okay, so actually, well, let me go through a little bit more. Let's see, there were, you can find the recipe for this on my website. I'll link it below. It's dry hopped with 40 grams of Falconers Flight, and then it's got 60 grams of Falconers Flight in the boil, where basically about 30 of them were in the boil, and then there were 30 grams hop burst at the end there. But yeah, let's give it a smell. Very light, citrusy. Little piney. I mean, I would definitely say that I know that Falconer's Flight, I've never used it before, but it's kind of a blend of all those well-known American hops. I expected it to be a lot stronger smelling than this, but I definitely get like some Cascade coming through and some Simcoe, slightly dank and citrusy. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I expected a lot more flavor from those hops, and now I'm actually starting to think that they might have been maybe a little too old or something, but I expected a lot more flavor from a blend like that. It's got a firm bitterness, but I used a high alpha hop to bitter mostly, so that's coming through for sure. But yeah, the actual character isn't great, and one reason might be that this beer ended up with a lot of trub in the. I had a problem with my hop blocker, and I ended up with just tons of trub that were in the beer itself. So that really could have affected the final flavor, and that's unfortunate because it's not. I guess it's not a true test of this hop. But other than that, it's a pretty good beer. It tastes. It's got a high IPA bitterness. And then you can really taste that Pilsner malt kind of in the background, little tang. Very thin. It ended on 10-10, so it's nice and dry, super dry. I used sugar in the recipe. I'm really starting to get into that for IPAs, but yeah. It's a good beer. It's not nearly as hoppy and flavorful as I thought it was going to be, but I guess I'll have to try that hop out in the future and see if it was just some mistakes that I made that I don't know, it didn't come through. But it's still a gorgeous looking clear beer with a nice head, and it's easy drinking. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video, and this is my first grain to glass video, and hopefully I'll be doing more in the future. So until then, cheers. Hey, if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. There's more in the future. You can also go back and check out my older videos, or you can look me up on all these other fine social media platforms. Links in the description, or just search for Rock on Beer. And thanks again for watching.